Welcome back to Talking Dead. We're back with Josh Hamilton, Lauren Cohan, and Norman Reedus. Lauren, how do you go about imagining a locust swarm? Because I'm assuming that they did not hire a swarm of locusts.
Costing is a bitch, trying to get...
It really is.
Just some are willing, and then some on the day they just want to drink coffee.
They just don't want to... They're smoking.
They won't come out of their holes. Yeah, they won't buzz. Sometimes they'll fly, they won't buzz.
They're craft service. They're just not...
And then they're not shadowy enough. Like, they're up there, they just get really light. It's weird.
Yeah. So it's all obviously has to be done on CGI for all of these reasons. So how do you imagine a locust swarm?
Well, it was funny because in the episode, you'd get into it and then sort of sometimes forget and then just sort of look up and do the thing that Josh was talking about. A math problem.
Yes, the math problem.
And,
or who farted.
Which locust farted.
To be fair,
which locust farted.
Which locust farted.
Exactly.
You'd never figured out. They're all noisy anyway.
They're all so noisy. That's why.
Yeah.
Because they're hiding for their buddies.
That's how they fly.
But yeah. No, it was funny because there was one bit in the scene when I don't forgive Negan and
pointing that out.
Yeah. But when me and my pal Annie are talking and he happens to be there and this locust, there's supposed to be like a big moment with the locust swarm and everything. And at the end of that scene, we actually had like props had made a really cool, ugly, fakey locust. And it's such a serious scene, and there's supposed to be this bit where the thing lands, and I go, ugh, like this. And I'm shocked it didn't go in the episode. But it was pretty funny. It was kind of this good supernatural, ominous thing throughout the episode. But yeah.
Josh, normally, Lance Hornsby is so well put together, so well appointed, but then now he's got this face laceration that Daryl gives him. Can you talk about putting the face laceration makeup on?
Oh yeah. When I first got that script and I read it, and I was like, oh great, now I'm gonna have to come in like an hour and a half earlier to shoot, which is like fine, but like it's an early morning, you come in at like 4, but then it ended up being like one of my favorite parts of the day because sort of one of the secret weapons of Walking Dead is the special effects makeup guy, this guy Addison Foreman, who's just amazing. And we would sit there and we liked a lot of the same kind of music, and we would just play each other's songs. We'd be like, oh, do you know this band? Do you know this band? And I ended up just being really glad that I got shot in the face.
Well, speaking of the person who shot you in the face, I have another thing to show everyone. This is Norman's debut novel called The Ravaged. It is available to purchase May 10th. I mean... Okay, May 10th, wherever books are sold. When did you have time to write this? Between all the shows and everything that you're doing, how did you write a book?
It was when we were kind of locked in, when the pandemic first started locking people in. And I don't know, I started a book. I learned how to make a really good martini, and I wrote a book. And it's based on different stories that I've come up with, and some things that really happened in my real life, but you wouldn't know it when you read it. And one thing really, I was shooting Ride at one point, and I was going to Uruguay from Costa Rica, and I sat next to a guy, and we started up a conversation, and he told me these things about how he'd spent his whole life trying to make money, and like with tears in his eyes, he's looking at me going, I've wasted my whole life. And that sort of put me on this path of one of the stories in there and some other things. But yeah, I wrote a book.
I know the story you're talking about because you did the podcast a couple of years ago, my podcast, and you talked about this, and it was very impactful because this guy was a tremendously I don't know who he is, but he was a tremendously successful guy.
Yeah.
And late in his life, he was like, I have to go travel, because he finally realized, that the value in life is not chasing the material success that he'd been chasing, and that was an incredibly impactful story. So please make sure to pre-order a copy of The Ravaged for yourself. And because I don't think it's any secret that Norman loves The Walking Dead fans, yes, you're all going to get a copy of this. I saw people in the audience like, oh, is it happening? You're going home with tons of stuff tonight. Coming up, more interviews with the cast. One, obviously, our Talking Dead throwback clip, and a sneak peek of the premiere of Part 3 of the final season of The Walking Dead. But first, here's an exclusive sneak peek of next week's mid-season premiere of